Hi, I'm Terry Tyner, the Flight Operations Manager for Van Horn Aviation.
And I'm Jessica Matrag, Flight Operations Assistant here for Van Horn Aviation. And as you can see back here, we have the OEM tail rotor as well as the tail rotor yoke off for the installation process.
Hi, we're at the receiving stage. We've already got the lid unscrewed. We're going to open it up and show you what the contents are.
Inside, you're going to have the tail rotor completely assembled. And then as you take off the foam pieces, underneath will expose the toolkit needed to put the assembly on.
So you can see here we've got the box opened up. What you're going to find is a complete assembly that it's already balanced, so it's ready for install when it comes into this state.
And what we like to ask customers is to save the foam pieces as well as the crate and store it in your facility. The things that you need for this part of adding the drive shaft is the drive shaft, red washer, our red-headed bolt, as well as the fixing wrench. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to verify that the OEM key is still installed and nice and clean as well. And then we're going to grab our drive shaft extension and we're going to mate the key. So you're going to grab your fixing wrench and then you're going to line up with the master splines. For the initial torquing, we're going to do 2,300 inch-pounds, which you're going to find in the ICA. And I have the torque wrench all set up, but when you're always working, we always want to test and verify, so I'm going to ask Terry just to verify that I have it all set up.
You hold it. Looks good.
Looks good. After the initial torque, we're going to then take off our sacrificial washer and bolt, as well as the fixing wrench.
So now you see that she's got the bolt and the fixing wrench off.
So the next step is grabbing your CPC, and what we want to do is add that CPC into the master splines of the assembly as well onto our drive shaft extension. Little goes a long way. I highly recommend a little brush if needed, and just get everything nice and lubricated.
So now after she has the CPC in, she's going to line up the master key with the drive shaft extension master key and slide the assembly on. Now the next steps in the ICA, we have a couple spots where you apply Pro Seal. For ease of installation in the training video here, we're going to omit the Pro Seal, but make sure that you follow the ICAs and apply the Pro Seal at the proper locations and time.
Before we put our bolt and the teeter stop on, some things to take note of is making sure that we are lining the teeter stop with the grooves of the drive shaft extension, and as well as grabbing that bolt, and then we're going to add some Loctite into the grooves. Not too much. At this step, we're going to be doing our final torque of the bolt.
That torque, again, is called out in the ICAs at 1063 to 1150 inch-pounds. After it's torqued up, you're going to follow the ICAs and you're going to use safety wire to safety wire the bolt to the teeter stop. And then you're going to install the OEM pitch links into the horns with the same procedures called out in the OEM maintenance instructions. At that point, the installation is done. Please take the time to review the ICA instructions and follow the order of operations for the ProSil and everything else. And then you'll go on to rigging after that, and then tail rotor balance. Okay, what you're going to find is our installation has two different part numbers, a -101 and a 301. And the reason is the pitch horns are different. What it'll allow you to do is use the elastomeric pitch horns or the spherical pitch horns that are smaller. You'll have to let us know what unit you have, and then we'll sell you the proper assembly. Also, a good key point is the anti-rotation rings that OEM uses. There's two different part numbers and the hole won't line up. So make sure you let us know what assembly you have and we'll get you the right unit. Okay, the next step after you get the installation complete is to perform the tail rotor rigging. The first step is going to be to install the tail rotor teeter lock.
So what we're going to do is align the ears to the sides of the teeter. You're going to rotate clockwise until it's nice and secure.
And what that does is that holds it from flapping. And then our procedure for the rigging, the stop adjustments are performed the same way that OEM does it in the front underneath the cabin or the later mod in the baggage compartment. The only difference, instead of doing a dimensional check, is to do a blade angle check. You'll put the blades at full left pedal, you'll measure the front portion, check the degrees, you'll measure and record the degrees of the aft section, you'll add both together to come up with your mean blade angle. After that, you'll have move the tail rotor blades to the full right position, and you'll do the same thing and record the angles. Those measurements are taking about 5 inches from the tip. Once you have your mean blade angles in the full left and full right position, you'll go back to our ICA instructions, and depending on what mod status, you'll set the degrees for left and right pedal travel.
I'm Dan Belber. I'm the flight test engineer here at Horn Aviation. We have already installed our new tail rotor on this aircraft, so now we are ready to perform dynamic balance. So any ship set that comes in the box from the factory will already be static balanced, so you can skip that step and go straight to dynamic balance, and that's what we'll be doing. The first step is to install your balance equipment. We'll be using identical equipment as is used for the OEM blade. We have a Dynamic Solutions installation here with a bracket, photocell, and an accelerometer. This should look really familiar from previous installations for OEM blades. And there's a couple of differences in balancing our tail rotor, namely the balance adjustments. For chord balance, we have two brackets coming off of the trunnion caps, and there's a hole where you will mount bolts and washers to adjust the chord balance. And then for span balance, we will be adding washers to the underside of the nuts for the blade attachment bolts. Now there's tip weights on this rotor system. We do not want to touch the tip weights during dynamic balance. Those are only for use at the factory for balancing each rotor blade to a master balance. And if we modify the tip weights, we will actually take it out of that master balance. So we will stick to adjustments using the chord balance weight locations and the span balance weight locations under the bolts. Now that we know what our adjustments are, we're ready to go take some data. So we'll go start up the aircraft, we'll take balance readings. We'll measure IPS and clock angle at both ground idle RPM and nominal flight RPM, as is done with the OEM blades. And we will plot those data points on 2 charts in the ICA, and the charts will tell us what balance adjustment we need to make to get the rotor system in balance.